All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into something that's, it's at the absolute heart of sophisticated trading. We're going to demystify the complex, but trust me, incredibly powerful world of the options Greeks.
So let's start with a basic question. Why do we even need a special toolkit for options? I mean, isn't it just a bet on where the stock is going? Well, not really. You see, an options value, it's a constantly moving target. It's being pushed and pulled by a bunch of different forces all at the same time. And that right there is what makes them so risky to trade if you don't know what you're looking at.
And we're talking about at least four major variables here. Yeah, of course, the underlying stock price matters, but that's just the beginning. You've got the clock ticking down every single second, you've got the market's mood or volatility swinging all over the place, and believe it or not, even something as big picture as interest rates can have an impact. It's a lot to juggle. So, how in the world do the pros handle all this complexity? Do they just guess? No way. They use a powerful set of diagnostic tools. And these tools have a name. You've probably heard of them. They're called the Greeks. And they are the key to measuring and managing all of those moving parts we just talked about. So what are they exactly? Well, officially, the Greeks are a set of metrics, basically numbers, that tell you precisely how sensitive your option's price is to a change in one of those key factors. Think of it like getting a real-time snapshot of every single one of your option's specific risks.
Okay, so here's the whole toolkit, all laid out. We're going to break down these 5 core Greeks: delta, gamma, theta, vega, and rho. Each one is designed to do one thing: isolate and measure a very specific type of risk. So, you ready? Let's unpack them, one by one.
All right, let's meet the Greeks. We're going to open up this toolkit and look at each tool piece by piece. We'll see exactly what it does, and more importantly, why it's so critical for managing your positions. First up, the big one, delta. The easiest way to think about delta is as your directional compass. It's really the most fundamental of all the Greeks. It tells you which way your option is pointing, and just as important, how strongly it's pointing in that direction. So what does that mean in practice? Well, delta measures exactly how much an option's price is expected to change for every $1 move in the stock. So let's say you have an option with a delta of 0.60. That means its price should go up by about 60 cents for every single dollar the stock rises. It's a straight-up measure of your directional exposure. And, of course, direction matters. A call option, that's your bet that the price is going to go up, it will always have a positive delta, somewhere between 0 and 1. And a put option, your bet that the price is going to fall, will always have a negative delta, from -1 to 0. It's a perfect reflection of whether you're bullish or bearish.
Okay, next up is gamma. Now, if delta is your compass, then gamma tells you how fast that compass needle is swinging around. It's all about the acceleration of your directional risk.
This is kind of cool. Gamma is the Greek that measures another Greek. It tells you how much your delta is going to change when the stock moves by $1. So if your option has a high gamma, that means your directional risk can change and change fast. It makes gamma an absolutely crucial thing to watch, especially when the market gets choppy. All right, now for a force that you can never, ever stop: time itself. And that's where theta comes in. Theta is basically the countdown clock ticking on your option. It represents that slow, steady, unavoidable decay in an option's value that happens just because time is passing. So for anyone buying options, theta is usually a negative number because time is constantly working against you. A theta of, say, -0.10 means your option is literally losing 10 cents of value every single day, even if nothing else changes. But here's the kicker. This decay isn't a straight line. It actually speeds up. Yeah, it's not linear at all. When your option has, 90 days left, the decay is pretty slow, but it picks up speed, and then it accelerates dramatically as you get closer to expiration. In that last week, the time value can feel like it's just melting away, like an ice cube on a hot day. Poof, it's gone. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about something a little less tangible: the market's mood. That's what Vega is for. Vega is your volatility gauge. It has nothing to do with which way the stock is going or how much time is left.
It's all about how sensitive your option is to changes in the market's fear or excitement, what we call implied volatility. So how does it work? Vega tells you exactly how much your option's price will change for every 1% shift in implied volatility. This is huge. It means that if fear and uncertainty spike in the market, implied volatility goes up, and an option with positive Vega gets more expensive. Get this. It can happen even if the stock price doesn't move a single penny. And that brings us to our last core tool, Rho. Rho is the interest rate sensor. You know, this is the Greek that gets talked about the least, but it still plays a really important role, especially if you're dealing with certain long-term strategies. So, Rho measures how an option's price reacts to a 1% change in interest rates. Now, for options that expire in a few weeks or months, the impact is usually tiny, almost negligible. But for those really long-term options, the ones with a year or more to go, we call them leaks, a shift in interest rates can actually have a pretty noticeable effect on their price. Okay, so we've looked at all the individual tools in the kit, but here's the thing. Their real power, it comes from using them together as part of a cohesive strategy. So let's see how the pros take these individual numbers and use them to manage an entire portfolio.
And it really boils down to a clear 4-step process. See, instead of getting lost in dozens of different positions, pros will sum up all the Greeks. They'll get one single number for their portfolio's total delta, total gamma, total vega. And bam, that instantly shows them where their biggest risks are. Maybe they have way too much negative gamma, for example. And once they know that, they can put on a very specific trade, a targeted hedge, to neutralize just that one risk. And then, of course, they have to keep adjusting as the market changes.
So when you step back, what the Greeks are really doing is creating a dashboard for your trading. They completely transform the game. You're moving from a world of intuition and, let's be honest, guesswork, into a world of clear, data-driven decisions.
There's this quote from our source material that just nails it. It says, "The Greeks transform options risk management from an intuitive process into a disciplined, quantitative science." I mean, that's it right there. You're going from a gut feeling to an actual science. It's a completely different way of thinking about risk. Think about this shift. You're leaving behind that world of just hoping you're right and entering the world of quantitative analysis, a world where you can precisely measure and then actively manage every single one of the distinct risks you're taking on. So, there you have it. You now understand the dashboard. You know what the gauges are and what they measure. The whole question changes. It stops being, what do I think the market will do? And it becomes, okay, which specific risks am I actually exposed to right now? And which ones am I going to be watching?